I'm just like, Stephen A., you missed the boat, on this. You really, really missed the boat, on what this is about. When you get a statue, the statue, and I think what Stephen A. was trying to say is in comparison to other people, but the statue is not for the NFL. It's for Indianapolis. So when you get a statue, it's for what you did in that city for that team. And that's where Stephen A. missed the boat, on that. And I think that's what Max and him was trying to tell him is that, yes, does Tom Brady deserve a statue? Yes, you're right. But he's still playing. So they'll eventually maybe get to that. I mean, hey, it's cool. Joe Montana. Yes, he deserves a statue. I wouldn't have a problem if he has a statue or whatever. But these are those other teams. So basically you're telling Indianapolis they're supposed to wait for whatever everybody else going to do and follow suit. No. This is the opportunity that this man, all I know, because I'm about to tell you, all I know is that before Peyton got there, their claim to fame was almost getting to a Super Bowl with John Harbaugh throwing a almost Hail Mary on the Pittsburgh Steelers. So if that's your claim to fame, and then before that was, eons years ago, and you're talking about Johnny Unitas and all that stuff, the man deserves a statue. If you want to say Johnny Unitas deserves one, give him one too. But all I'm saying is that you can't say the man doesn't deserve a statue. Come on now. I mean, what he did for that city, what he did, and it's not just on the field. It's what he did off the field as well. He's done a lot of, good charity work in Indy, and he still to this day does. So, this whole statue is more than just about how does he compare to Tom Brady and all this stuff. It's not about them. It's not about them at all. It's not about them at one bit. This has nothing to do with them. So, Stephen A. Smith is tripping on there, and he needs to slow it down and sit back and say, you know what? Jelani was right on this one. Jelani right. He won't say that because I don't think I've ever really heard Stephen A. say he wrong about something, but he's wrong on this one. Give that man a statue, man, and let him be who he is. And that is Peyton Manning, greatest probably regular season quarterback of all time. So, and speaking of quarterbacks, we got some battles going on, and I just want to shoot through them real quick. Because none of them are really, interesting except for one. But we're going to have pretty much about 5 quarterback battles, in the NFL, this year. So the Jets is one. They're a mess. They're trying to figure out, if you don't even know who your quarterback is and the season y'all are having last year and you don't even let Christian Hackenberg play, y'all got a problem. Y'all got a big problem, and quarterback and other positions is a problem, but McCown will probably get that, that position just because he's been the constant professional and he's the guy that comes in and he's the gap guy, Big L, we're going to get into your Bears. I know you don't want to probably talk about it, but, this kid, Mike Glennon, he thinking he's starting or whatever, or he think this is his team. And then they go and pick up Trubisky and second overall pick. So it's just a matter of time. But as far as like who's starting this year, it's going to be Mike Glennon. The only way Trubisky plays is if Mike Glennon just implodes or, he gets injured. So I think for a guy that started 13 games in college, I think that's still not enough to go straight to the NFL and start playing games for a professional team. He's going to have to sit back and relax. Glennon has been in the league for 4 years, so he'll be all right. So Big L, look, you better hope Glennon do, something right away, because after that, you're going to be pissed for the next probably 5 to 10 years if this Trubisky guy, end up playing for y'all for a long time. Browns, real quick, Kessler, Osweiler, Kaiser. I mean, flip a coin, at that point, but it'll probably be Cody Kessler, and the Broncos with Trevor Siemian and Paxton Lynch. Paxton Lynch is going to get every opportunity to take this position from Trevor Siemian, but He didn't do it last year. Maybe year 2, he's in the system. He'll be a lot better. But I still think Simeon, edges him out. Now, the one that I really want to talk about, and this is going to probably, appeal to my man, Chief Rocket, is the Texans. So this whole Tom Savage and Deshaun Watson, the GM of the Texans, Rick Smith, is saying that basically, Deshaun is going to get an opportunity to compete, and we know that. It's just like you traded up, you're going to give him an opportunity. But here's the thing. What is the opportunity? To me, I just think they're just CYA, if you ask me. They just cover, they butt like any other, franchise would, because at this point, you need to let Watson play. You need to see what you got, because by the time you find out what you got, you might not be there. The general manager and O'Brien and the coach. You got a defense that was the number 1 defense last year without J.J. Watt. You got pieces on offense. You got D-Hop. You got Braxton Miller. You got Will Fuller. You got Fedoris, which is tight end. You got Lamar Miller at running back, and then they just picked up, I think, Dante Foreman out of Texas. So your offense is basically solid. The only question you got is your quarterback, and you're gonna sit there and say, you know what, he needs to learn. No, not after you just saw what happened a few hours down the road from y'all, and what Dak did. And I think a lot of people would say Deshaun is further along than where Dak was. Both of them have that same mentality, I think, as far as like being able to handle the workload. But I'm just saying, dude, you don't have that much time. They had, and Grego, you may not agree with this. You should agree with me on this, but they had an opportunity to really give the Patriots some competition in the AFC playoffs, but Brock was ineffective. So, they basically held Brady in check, for most of the game, if you will. You gotta let Deshaun play. You got to, because at this point, if Savage doesn't work out, you're gone. You're gone after. I don't care what the owner says right now. If Savage plays the whole year and they miss the playoffs, or they get to the playoffs and they want it done again with that defense and everything they got going on, they're gone. So you might as well go ahead, empty the clip, and put Watson in there and ride and die with him. And whatever happens, happens. At least at that point, hey, we made every attempt, because if you don't, you're gonna be looking for a job somewhere else. So put in Deshaun Watson. Let's stop playing around, and Savage be his backup. So and back is where I want to transition into, and I'm gonna go back to the Area 21 where we were talking about the Celtics. They were talking about Ray Allen and all this stuff. But something else that they, actually brought up, in that conversation was the whole thing. They kind of, related KD with the whole Ray thing and everything. So they started talking, and Kendrick Perkins, saying that Russ and KD are actually texting each other, so they're getting back, on a good terms, and all this stuff. And he said something that really, really, really intrigued me. And he said he wouldn't be surprised if KD came back to OKC. So I got a question, because Russ is still young and KD is still young. So this is not far-fetched. Could KD go back to OKC is one. And two, will OKC welcome him back? And the first part is, I think he could go back. I think he could. LeBron did it. Why not? If they win the championship this year, I'm not saying he's going to leave right away, but he could do the same thing like LeBron did. Maybe go to Golden State, win a couple, championships, and then say, you know what? I'm finna head back to, OKC and finish the deal. Now, the second part to that is that he's going to have to go to Russ because this is Russ' team. And he's going to have to ask Russ, hey, is it okay? I think Russ would take him back, but some things got to be different. I don't think he's going to be the man. I don't know if he can handle that, and being on a team and it's not your team anymore where it was your team, that's a tough pill to swallow, but I think he would do it, just for that simple fact of finishing the job that they started together. I would love to see something like that. I would love to see KD go back because now that just changed the whole platform, of the Western Conference again. Because then now it changes the storyline. What is Golden State going to do now? Because they gave up all these people to get KD to come there. Are they going to re-up or do they just keep the guys that they got? Who can OKC get? So to me, that's a very interesting story that Kendrick Perkins brought up. I would love to see that in about 2 or 3 years. The media would eat that alive, So let me go back in the chat and see what you got to say about some of the topics. We were talking about Peyton Manning getting a statue, and Stephen A was saying that Brady don't have one. And yes, Sluggo, I got a sponsor, and I'm glad you brought that up. Before I move on, but before I get Mollywop, is I got a sponsor. So Faro Gyro Music, ladies and gentlemen, all the music that you normally hear on here with the intro and the outro and everything is done by FaroGyroMusic.com. So if you're into music, which I know a lot of people are, if you're a music artist, please go to FaroGyroMusic.com and check it out. He does everything, beats and do engineering and all that stuff. So, shouts out to Gaelic Road's finest. He is in the building as well. In here, Big L's talking about toes out Mocha. So Big L's gonna be at TDSS 3 with his toes out. File them things down, bro. If you're gonna do that, But let's see. Big L says Stephen A is a joke. I have not looked or listened to him in about 3 or 5 years. So Big L's not a big fan of Stephen A. Let's see. Laugh out loud, JB, I can agree with. Is what Sluggo was saying. Big L said when Stephen A left ESPN was the last time I listened to him. I think he meant Fox, maybe Big L, but because he's still at ESPN. Gally Rose finally said this game not worth watching. Rush home to see it's a beatdown. Off to my DVR shows. There you go, Gaylor. I don't blame you at all because it's 102-78. So yeah, that game is done with. 334 Bama Boy is saying McCown are starting QB. That is laughable, but that's their only option. Really, Bryce Petty, Christian Hackenberg, you barely let them guys touch the ball. So the Jets, they don't have an idea what they want to do, and it's sad because it's guys out there you could bring in that could possibly help that team, and they just refuse to do it. Gator Rose Fine is saying Bears talk is like talking Jaguars and Browns, a whole lot of wasted air. Laugh out loud. Al Thomas, shouts out to Al Thomas. I see the Believe Land, logo you got there, Cleveland fan. He said, is that all you're going to say about the Browns, JB? Can we get a segment? I'll give you a segment. When we talk about the AFC North, because I'm going to have a divisional round discussion. So we will get on the Browns, but Al, it may be, kind of grimy or whatever because they ain't did nothing yet. It is what it is, Cleveland, we can talk about. Even the Indians, last year, the Indians, we can talk about. But yeah, with them, it's maybe a lot of flower bringing for the Browns, but they're in the midst of turning things around. So yes, we will have a segment, about the Browns, Al. JBJ